We learned previously that biologists have classified all living things into 5 kingdoms. We are familiar with 2 of these kingdoms, Kingdom Plantae and Animalia. We know them very well because we interact with them in our daily lives. There are actually 3 other kingdoms that we weren't aware of until the microscope was invented. One of them is the kingdom Monera. This is a very important kingdom and we will talk about it in this lesson. Let's begin with the characteristics of the organisms in Kingdom Monera. The first thing is that they are microscopic and unicellular. They are very, very tiny, and that was why we needed a microscope to know about their existence. In fact, their name comes from the Greek word Monera, which means singular because they are unicellular. They cannot be studied with the naked eye. There are organisms in other kingdoms that are simple and unicellular. So what's so special about Monerans? Here's what it is. They are prokaryotic. This means they have no membrane-bound nuclei. Their chromosome or their DNA is naked within their cytoplasm. Also, they lack membrane-bound organelles like mitochondria. But they do have cell walls composed of amino acids and polysaccharides. Also, Monerans largely reproduce asexually. Let's talk about the phyla of Kingdom Monera, namely Schizophyta and Cyanophyta. We'll look at the characteristics of each phylum and the differences between them. Organisms of the phylum Schizophyta are unicellular, and they move around with the aid of a tail-like structure called flagellum, plural flagella, or hair-like structures called cilia, singular cilium. Also, they reproduce through binary fission. One Schizophyta simply divides into 2. One example in this phylum are bacteria, singular bacterium. Now to the next phylum, Cyanophyta. The organisms in this phylum have certain unique characteristics that make them a bit different from their counterparts in the phylum Schizophyta. They do not have flagella or cilia, those tail-like or hair-like structures, so they move around by gliding, like kites or airplanes. But like bacteria, they are prokaryotic. Some of them are unicellular, while some exist as filaments or long trains, or as colonies, grouping or hanging out together like some of us do with our friends. The blue-green algae is an organism that belongs to the phylum Cyanophyta. So we've learned that Monerans are prokaryotic, unicellular organisms. They do not have distinct membrane-bound nuclei. There are other unicellular organisms in other kingdoms, but they have distinct membrane-bound nuclei. We're going to talk about them soon, and I'll see you then.